Oh, Trina, thank you so much for joining me today and taking some time to tell us a little bit about what you've experienced by working with me.
Well, thank you for having me.
I really want to celebrate your successes, the things that you've been able to accomplish so far. Tell me, what was going on in your life or business when you made the decision to work with me? What challenges were you facing?
Yeah, so I have been toying around with businesses for the last 4 years. I left my job and I started doing more of that same kind of stuff, which was HR stuff, and then realized that that wasn't it for me. There was still something missing. So then I was on a journey of what's my purpose in life, really? It wasn't that, and came upon being a happiness coach. And that was based on the experience that I've had in life, but I didn't have an education in that. So I've been really struggling to put this forward. What am I going to do for coaching? So I decided not to do private coaching because I like group session better. I like the classroom better. And so I had this idea that I needed to push forward and was coming up against some blocks, whether it was my self-conscious or just feeling I wasn't prepared and not knowing what to do next, difficulty talking about the program to prospects. And I think probably the biggest thing was just my reluctance to put myself out there and just get going on it. So I think that's where I was, if that's what you remember.
It is, I really want to thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. And
Oh, yeah.
so, what else did you use to try to overcome those challenges before you worked with me?
I was probably, it had been over a year, I think, since I had just thought I would figure it out by myself. So I had built a different program, more of an evergreen kind of program, and it wasn't working and I didn't know what to do with it differently. And I couldn't move things forward because it wasn't really fitting in with the lifestyle that I had dreamed for myself, and I didn't really know how to push it forward. So I was really digging in my heels, not really having a vision for it. I did some sales training during that time and that didn't help. Like, it made me feel like I could maybe talk to someone. I wasn't able to go and find people and talk about the program. And so I was just really stuck.
Yeah. And that makes so much sense. And so, were there any hesitations or concerns before making the decision to work with me?
I think it's always awkward, right? Being vulnerable with someone and opening up to them and maybe even accepting help and not really knowing what that help was going to be or if I would want to accept it or not. So there might have been a little bit of unknown, even though I think I jumped on it pretty quick because I knew I needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you choose to work with me to overcome these challenges?
I don't know. It was just something about what you offer. Like, I didn't really know what it was, but you talked about getting in flow, and I didn't think that was for me. I thought it was more like executive kind of stuff. And then I started thinking, no, maybe that does apply to me. Like, I want to get to a point where it's just easy and flows and it's good. So I think that part was catchy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How did my coaching stand out in comparison to what you'd experienced before?
So it stood out in terms of, I guess, like the emotional part that we've been working on is something I've never done before. And it's been very helpful and eye-opening for me, emotion opening for me. And I think that helps me with my happiness coaching because I absolutely have to help people with the same things. So that's been very educational as well. So very beneficial.
What was your experience like during the sessions that we've had?
Yeah, so it was different because I expected curriculum. Because when I've done programs before, it's like you go through the lessons and then you talk about it, and that's how I do my program as well. So that it was weird to come in and not have an agenda of what we're going to cover today, and so I'd have no idea what was going to happen or even like what I needed help with. So I really learned to listen to myself and what I thought I needed at the time, which is really good. And what I found was you planted seeds, and I was reviewing some videos or some audio yesterday. And like, I've been talking about things and moving things forward. And then I listened to the video. I'm like, oh, we talked about that in the coaching. So you planted a seed there. And then I had this idea, well, it came from the coaching. So it's really good, like in that capacity. Because I don't know, for some reason, when you allow a person to just talk things out and say what they think they need, and when you're a sounding board for them, it's really aligned with where they're going and what
Yeah.
they need to hear at the time. So in that way, it's way better than having a curriculum. However, then it's like sometimes you don't understand things, but then I can just ask you. So, and you're always answering my questions, so that's good.
So, what three specific benefits did you gain from the sessions?
So I would say even greater self-awareness. So I'm pretty self-aware, but I think the emotional piece was good for me. Like it was actually a really big revelation about, like, you asked about an emotion one day, and what was hitting me was power. Like I was lacking power before, but I felt like I was more powerful now, and that led me to say, like, why was I lacking power? And I was reminded of the three psychological needs that people have for well-being, which autonomy is one of them. And then that led to a whole lesson that I taught my class. So that was incredible and obviously important. I guess the other benefit would just be the clarity that I have moving forward. And I think that comes just from listening to myself more. And like we talked about the self-doubt I was having, but I feel like I don't need to have that anymore. So that's really good.
So, I'm noticing some feeling, some emotion on your face. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
You do this to me. Oh,
You were so expressive.
I know. I guess I'm celebrating. It's just, it feels really
And I
good.
celebrate you too. You've had so many wins.
Yeah, no more excuses. I wanted to say the third benefit was, it was interesting. Like I was talking about getting on video, and you're like, what's the worst that could happen? And I'm like, well, I don't know, like someone's gonna hear or this or that. And you said, well, maybe they'll learn something. And I'm just like, yeah, maybe they will. And so now I'm not running downstairs to talk in private anymore. I don't care. Like I'll record my lesson, just be quiet so I can record. Like it just gave me another level of autonomy and empowerment.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Thanks.
What else was there that surprised and delighted that you found as a result of us working together?
I think even though I didn't think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, I think I actually was. And so I was able to see that and just see, for example, people give you advice, right? It's like you have to do this for social media and you have to go speak on podcasts and do this and do that. And it's just like, it's overwhelming. And it's like, I felt that I had to do everything. And so I just really felt, no, I get to decide. So that was really good.
You reclaiming your power.
Yeah. It's funny because I thought I had already, but apparently I hadn't.
There's always layers, there's always more. Because I remember when we first spoke, and you mentioned it again today earlier before we were recording this session, is that you're generally a very happy person, very satisfied. There's not much more that you think that you could want. You're pretty satisfied with what you have.
Yeah.
And how true or not do you find that as you go through this coaching process, you realize that you can have an even deeper experience of satisfaction, that there is more that you can expand into?
Absolutely. And I remember before I left my job, I was standing there saying, I want to do more. I want to grow as a person. Like this isn't all there is, like doing the same job for 11 more years. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. I want to be something else. And then you start being that, and it's difficult. So you stop, right? You don't push. And so this is really pushing myself and getting myself to do that. And those things are all linked to happiness as well, right? It's not just about relaxation and doing fun stuff and that. It's about your purpose in life and doing something meaningful and growing as a person. And so it's just another way that I can model happiness for my clients too.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest breakthrough that you've experienced while working with me?
I would have to say it's trust in myself and my inner compass. I guess I had lost connection to that and doubted it. And now I feel like as I go into the future that that I have that sense of knowing, or I have always had it. I'm just connected to it. So obviously that's going to serve me very well.
Yeah. What has been your favorite thing about working with me so far?
Favorite thing, I think, is like hearing about your experiences. I know that my students tell me the same thing. It's just like when you have someone that you can relate to, I think it's really good that you don't feel so weird or that something's wrong with you. So that's been really good. And just that you're a great listener, obviously, and you let me talk things out, which of course led to reconnecting with myself. Instead of waiting to hear the right answers from you, you waited for me to find the right answers in myself. So that's been a good lesson.
Thank you. And now, for complete honesty, what has been your least favorite thing about working with me?
I couldn't think of anything, but now I'm going to say that it's been really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But useful. But it's just been lovely and very helpful. And then I hadn't even had the recording. I had access to the recordings, but I didn't listen to them until yesterday when I was preparing for this. And just to listen to them again, I pick up some things that I'd forgotten about too. So that's been really good. Yeah. So I don't know. It's not like it's a least favorite thing. It's just it was just different.
Yeah, and both are compliments.
Yeah.
My goal is not to make you uncomfortable, but you need to experience some discomfort to grow and to learn to be comfortable with discomfort.
Yeah.
But in a very compassionate way.
Yeah.
Which is my goal. And so we just have a few more questions. How would you explain our work or process to someone who is thinking about doing it?
So I was thinking, like, usually I come in, I have a goal for the session, and then you ask me questions about that, whatever it is. It just gets me really reflecting on what that means to me or what I think. So just helping me attach to my inner knowing, and then just focusing on what feels good, kind of getting me out of my head into more of how that feels and if that resonates because of the way it feels. So that's really opened up for me. And then, like, usually by the end there's some sort of alignment, like there's some small breakthrough, even just, okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Then I feel it gives me some sort of direction and something tangible to work with.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you've gone through and listened to some of the recordings, because one of the things that I consistently noticed working with you is that every session you've had some sort of energy shift, breakthrough, aha moment that has struck.
Yeah.
And then together we co-create a action plan.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches call it homework, and I don't like calling it homework because you're not a child, but knowing what step, what direction you can use to move forward.
Yeah. And I never feel like I have to do what we said, but it's a starting point, right? Try it. If it doesn't work, then it's okay. Now I have to think of something else. Because obviously in a 1 hour thing, it's very difficult to come up with all your options and commit to something. So that's what I like, is not having to be held accountable. It's like, that's not what it's about. It's about like discovery and growth and moving forward in however that looks.
And the cool thing is that, yes, we make a little bit of a plan, a little bit of this is the direction that I can go.
Yeah.
But every step needs to be something that is in alignment with
Exactly.
where you are, because it doesn't claiming to do some that you will do something if it is not in alignment is not going to serve you.
Yeah, and I think so that would be another benefit after working with you, is just that I know quicker now if it's in alignment or not. Like I was having
Yeah.
making decisions, and now it's so we had thought I'm going to record all this stuff from my clients and the breakthroughs that they've had, and maybe write a book one day. And I even started a OneNote document, and then just I'm never going to keep up with this. Like,
Yeah.
why am I even doing this? Okay, it's done. I'm not doing that. And I don't feel bad about it. Like, even though I told you I'm going to do it, it's like I'm not doing it, and I don't feel bad to say I'm not doing it. I'll figure out something else.
Because there is absolutely a reason why
Yeah.
something doesn't get done. And it's not because a lack of motivation. It's not because of a lack in you. It either doesn't align.
Yeah.
There's something that is more important to do, or your interest has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because like things are going, and then you hit another roadblock. And I think that what happened in our sessions was there were a few times when I hit a roadblock, and so then the emotion side came up. And so this one was the same thing, right? It's what am I supposed to be doing in the future? What's my vision for the future? I can't visualize it. Let's try the emotion side of things instead. Like a different tool, right? We're only ever taught these tools, and there's these other ones available.
Yeah. Would you recommend this coaching that I do, my coaching program, to a friend?
Yes, I absolutely would recommend the coaching to everyone who's feeling stuck and they don't know why, because I think that's the biggest part of it. It's basically if people are just having a hard time moving forward, because I feel like now I can just move forward because we got through some of those blocks, and I have some tools for the future now. And until I hit another roadblock, I feel pretty well prepared. So I know we have a couple more sessions and something else might come up, but I think for the next 6 months anyway, I've got a pretty clear vision of what needs to happen, and I feel confident that it will. So it's good.
Yeah. And so why else might you recommend what I do to another entrepreneur? What kinds of people would benefit most from the kind of work that we do?
Definitely people who have self-awareness and they still want to work on themselves. They know they're capable of more. They might know what that is. They might not know what that is, but they're feeling stuck for some reason, or they're trying to push something forward and it's not going.
What do you think about entrepreneurs?
For sure. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, and it's for sure helped me. I guess it's like really, it's not just stuckness. It's just like you've done other training, and sure, you learned something, but it's hard to implement it, or it's not natural. It doesn't work for you because you're listening to other people instead of to yourself. So if you're like still trying to find a guru who's going to give you the best answer on how to do this or how to do that, then that's a good indication that you're not listening to yourself. And it's maybe time to to dial into your inner knowing. It's not like you need therapy and you've tried these courses and stuff, and it's just still just something missing and you're not sure what that is. Yeah. And so I think about my clients and how they'll go through my program, and my program is different than yours. It's like I have a curriculum of the process that I went through to become happy and all the things I think can help them and that will help their self-awareness. So after that, they're going to go and practice those things. And some things will work for them and some won't. They'll get stuck along the way. If it's a past trauma, they'll have to go for therapy. But if it's just, I want a better life, I need to figure out how this works, then those people would definitely find a home with you as well.
Any last minute comment or thing that you would like to share?
I don't know. I guess I was skeptical. You just never know what you're getting into, right? What you're signing up for. And I don't even know what I would have listed for what I wanted to have as an outcome. But I really like what the outcomes have been. I just trusted you and just went along with whatever it was going to be. And it's been great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.